Whoa! Whoa! Only way I can go shopping, baby wrapped. Right. You look so big in here. Hey y'all. So I am literally here sitting on the floor of my bedroom, nursing Bowen, and I just have had this like weight on me that I feel like I need to just sit down and talk to you guys. I've never done a video like this before, and I'm sure I'm gonna just be rambling and probably make very little sense, but I just have a lot I want to share, and I just feel like I need to talk to you guys, and you know, maybe this will help somebody else or help you guys kind of see where I'm coming from or my perspective and my experience. I share a lot of this stuff with you guys on Instagram, and I definitely am proud of the fact that I am vulnerable and honest with you guys about my motherhood journey and my experiences as a mother. And again, especially on Instagram, because I'm able to update you guys in real time. Like, a thought pops into my head, I can just immediately update y'all. And on my YouTube channel, it's obviously a little bit different. I have to put more effort and more thought into it and more planning, especially with two little ones. It's a little bit harder for me to like sit down and film a video, just like talking. So I definitely just knew I wanted to do that. The two biggest things I want to talk about in this video are my experiences with postpartum anxiety, and also my thoughts on going back to work here pretty soon. I go back to work January 2nd. And just what it's like for me being a working mom and my feelings and everything on that. So if you're not interested in either one of those topics, it's definitely not a video for you. But if you are, I appreciate you watching and listening to me ramble, because I'm sure that's what it's going to be. I just feel like both of these topics need to be discussed, and I just want to share my personal motherhood journey. This really isn't for any other reason but that, I guess. So, yeah. I don't have any thoughts down on paper, and which is probably a bad idea, but here goes nothing. So the first topic is postpartum anxiety, and I experienced postpartum anxiety with Kason, which was my first child. He's 2 years old now, for those of you who haven't been following me. He turned 2 at the end of September, and whenever I went back to work with after having him is when I started experiencing that anxiety being away from him. So when I was with him, I was fairly content overall. I didn't really have any fears or issues, but when I was away from him, I started having severe anxiety attacks, just very anxious, crying every day, going to work, dropping him off, getting to work, and so I didn't know I had never heard of postpartum anxiety before, ever. I had always heard of postpartum depression, and baby blues and things like that, but never postpartum anxiety. So I remember like Google searching, you know, anxiety, separation anxiety from your baby. Like, I didn't know, I knew I was feeling something that wasn't normal, but I didn't know what it was or where to turn to. So I started Google searching that, and of course postpartum anxiety popped up. And then I found a group on Facebook and realized so many other mamas are feeling the same way that I'm feeling, which definitely helps you not feel alone or like you're going crazy or like you're experiencing something nobody else has ever experienced before. So that was really nice. But I was just like, what is going on? So I went back to work with Kason right after Thanksgiving. And then in January, I told my husband I needed to go back to therapy to try to help kind of sort through these feelings, because it pretty much with him, the anxiety stemmed, like I said, from being away from him. And unfortunately for our situation, I have to work. I can't afford to stay home. It's not like I knew it would help if I was able to just stay home, but that wasn't an option for me. So I just had to sort through these feelings and these emotions some other way. So I started back going to therapy, and that was very, very helpful. I will say, for those of you who have tried therapy before and you're like, it's just not for me, definitely maybe try talking to a different therapist. Find one that really fits you feel comfortable with, possibly is similar to you. My therapist is a mom of 2, so she really, really understands where I'm coming from, both as a mother, just in general, and as a working mom too. So I think that's been like what's helped the most. And she had so many tips and tricks and things like that to really help me every day feel better. But by about April, not that it wasn't getting better, because it was, but it wasn't at the same time. Like, I still was struggling really bad, and at this point started having, like I mentioned earlier, pretty severe anxiety attacks pretty much daily. So my husband was like, babe, have you thought about medicine? What do you think about that? Do you think that would help? And I had honestly not even thought about medication. I have, both sides of my family have addiction problems, and I am just really hyper aware of that. And I don't even like taking Tylenol unless I absolutely have to. Like, I'm just that type of person. I just do not care to take medicine. So it never even crossed my mind. But at this point, I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. I really need to. I knew I needed to try something else, because just therapy was not working for me. So I went and talked to my doctor. I got prescribed Zoloft, and then I continued therapy all the way through, and I actually am still in therapy now. So that was super helpful. As soon as I started taking Zoloft, it immediately helped. And my therapist explained it like this. She said it's not going to completely make everything go away. You're not going to feel like a zombie. You're not going to feel weird. It just turns the volume down on things so you can really focus on what matters the most. Because I wasn't even able to function and focus at work. It was like everything was just, my thoughts were just going crazy, and I just couldn't focus on anything. And she said it just turns your volume down and you're able to focus a little bit better. So, and I really, really feel like that's like the perfect example, or the perfect way to word that, because that's exactly how it was. So I took that and I felt so much better. And really, after Kason turned about a year old, I felt way better. I stopped taking the Zoloft, and I started getting into a better groove, and I honestly felt really like, I don't want to say like I was in control, and I felt really strong for being a mom, balancing a very demanding career. I actually got a promotion in January, so I had a lot more on my plate, plus obviously him. I just felt really like, I got this, like, I don't really know how to explain it, but, so yeah, so that was my journey with Kason as far as postpartum anxiety goes. Now with this little one, it's been a little bit different for me. Pretty much I feel like with Bowen, as soon as I had him, I started having anxiety, and it was, I think, more of what people would consider as postpartum anxiety. The thoughts of like, is he breathing? Constantly checking on him breathing, having these thoughts about him like passing away, in the middle of the night or during his nap, or kind of more of those intrusive thoughts that really obviously are all valid, but don't really make a whole lot of sense as to why you're having them in the moment that you're having them. And you kind of really can't think of anything else but like those thoughts, if that makes sense. So when I went in for my 6-week checkup, I went ahead and told my doctor, could you go ahead and prescribe me some Zoloft? I am experiencing them. At that point, they were a little bit more few and far between. I was able to manage it a little bit better, and like, okay, talking to myself, going like, that's really not 100% valid, so just, ignore it. But I knew, my thought process was, when I go back to work, I had a feeling that they would probably get worse. So instead of me going back in to see her at that point, can she go ahead? She was perfectly happy doing that. And obviously she knew my history previously with our first baby. So that was fine. Do you want to look at yourself? So she went ahead and prescribed it. So I had it on hand probably about, let's see, he's 3 months today, maybe about 2 months in, a little bit more than 2 months, I started having them almost constantly. I could barely go to sleep. They were just very, intrusive to the next level and were hard for me to function. Even so much so that it kind of interfered with my time with my husband, and I just knew, okay, I need to go ahead and start back on taking the medicine, and I have been taking it ever since and feeling a whole lot better. And just my brain just is at peace. That's what I feel like. It's just like very, obviously I worry about my boys, but it's not like it was. It just feels a whole lot better. So I'm very thankful that the medicine does work for me. I know not everybody has that type of experience or situation, but it does work for me. And if you are having bad anxiety or depression, please talk to your doctor. Please, 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 please. And don't be afraid to reach out to a therapist. Start with therapy if you feel like that's what's going to help you the most, and you don't want to do medicine first, kind of like what I did, and then try the medicine. Whatever way you feel is better for you and your family. The biggest thing is you have to take care of yourself. You cannot be the mama that you should be if you aren't taking care of yourself first. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, just postpartum anxiety in general. I feel like it's not talked about enough, and it needs to be talked about more often and shared, and our experiences need to be shared, and I don't think there is one singular motherhood journey or path that is exactly the same. Everybody has different experiences. Everybody has different feelings, different emotions. Not everything bothers people differently. So I just think if we all share our journey, we'll know, okay, we're not alone in these feelings, but we can also see a different perspective and learn from each other. So, okay, I'm going to get off that soapbox and on to the next thing, which is working, how I feel about going back to work, just all that stuff. Disclaimer, I probably will cry at this point in the video, so, and also want to let you guys know, if you are a stay-at-home mom, I am 1,000% with every part of my being not saying that one is harder than the other. I know without a shadow of a doubt that both are extremely, extremely hard. Being a mother, period, no matter stay-at-home, working, whatever, just being a mom is hard. So I'm not sitting here at all. See, it's hard. I'm not sitting here at all saying one is harder or one is easier or no, none of that. But I can only share my experiences. I can only tell you guys my stories. I cannot share anything else. So I just want to let you guys know that. I definitely know that staying home from maternity leave, that if you're a stay-at-home mom, you literally get no days off. Your job is 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. There is no mental break for you. And I do feel like working moms, we do get a little bit of a mental break. Not much, I will say, because you're still constantly worried about your babies. And for those of you who pump, you're still taking time out of your day to pump and feed your baby, but your baby's not there. So, but we do get adult interaction. We do get a little bit, like I said, of mental break, a little bit of our own personal space in an office, even if it's a cubicle, that isn't covered in toys. So I do understand if you're a stay-at-home mom and you're just like, okay, or, you know, sure, whatever. I do understand, but I think we all, both sides, need to understand our point of views and our experiences, and, you know, they're both hard. That's it. So, okay, anyways. So like I said, with Kaysen, my anxiety, when I went back to work, my anxiety started from there, from being away from him. So that whole first year after having Kaysen was so difficult on me, and being at work was so difficult. I had so many conversations with my husband, and it was hard on him too, because he felt really bad. He's always the type of person, like, he wants to fix everything. He doesn't like seeing me upset. And he kept saying, if I have thought over and over and over again, if there's any way you could stay home, I would make it happen, you know. And without him being gone, which I don't want him to do that, you know, without him like working on the road or over the road or anything like that. I don't want him gone. I want him home at nights, and I want him to have a relationship with his boy. So, so I, you know, of course I felt bad for him too, because he knew I was really, really struggling with it. And I always have. We're fortunate that my grandmother lives down here, and she doesn't work. She's kept Kaysen for me, and Kaysen's about to go to daycare, and she will be keeping Bowen, which is great, but it's also really hard because you just feel like somebody else is raising your child, and that feeling is like the worst. I think as every mother feels like nobody can take care of their babies as good as they can. Like, you know, every little coo and every little, you know, cry, you know what they want. I don't know, it's just, you just want to be with them. I mean, you can't even explain it until you've had kids. You just really can't. And I remember when I was at work with Kaysen and pumping, I hated pumping. It was a constant reminder that I wasn't with my baby. It is one of the most unnatural things for me anyways, to me anyways, that, like, it just feels so unnatural. You know, I'd rather him be there with me and nurse. I don't want to have to use a pump. So that was another struggle. And again, just not being there with your child is just, it's so hard. It's hard. And when I was pregnant with him, you know, if I ever kind of voiced that I had a struggle when I went back after Kaysen, a lot of people were like, oh, with your second, you'll be so ready to come back to work. You know, you're not going to have that. You won't have those feelings, blah, 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 blah. That's not the case for me. If I could stay at home, if something happened and we said, okay, you know, yes, you can stay home with the boys, I would, hands down. And I know that it would change a lot for myself, like my own personal self. There would be a lot of adjusting. It would be hard on both of us if we went to one income, and I understand that. So there's a lot of reservations as far as, like, if I even think in the long run, like, just looking at the big picture, oh yeah, it sounds amazing. I would love to be home with my boys. I think that just, they are literally the best thing ever that's ever happened to me, hands down. But I also know that in the long run, and looking at kind of more individualized situations, that it would be extremely hard and extremely difficult. And I could just, you kind of see those red flags, if that makes sense. You know what I'm trying to say? Without saying it. Not like specific because of work. It's all to do with my babies and being a mother. And I know when I go back to work, I'm going to be so tired. When I get off work, I'm going to be completely drained. And then you have to turn around and try to give your kids 100% of yourself when work has already taken so much out of you. Obviously getting up in the middle of the night with him, and then getting up super, super early, getting ready, getting Payson off to daycare, getting me to work on time, hopefully. It's all very draining. My weekends are now going to be spent on cleaning and doing the laundry and grocery shopping and all the things that aren't fun. And it sucks because you work all week. You want to spend time with your babies and your husband. You don't want to be cleaning house or doing laundry all the time. So just keep thinking about all these things that are going to be so much harder when I go back to work. And I know that's not a good way to look at things, and I know it's not a good way. What, baby? And I know it's not helping me any better to get mentally prepared for this next chapter, but I just can't help it. I just continue to think oh my gosh, how am I gonna, I know I'm gonna, because I remember thinking this whenever I was on maternity leave with Case, and I remember thinking how am I gonna have time to restock all the diapers? How am I gonna have time to do whatever the case is? And you just do it. You just power through no matter how tired you are, and you just get it done. And it is what it is. But it's that, why do I have to just power through, suck it up, and just do, it just sucks. It really sucks. It's right now I just feel so happy, and I feel like I can give them so much right now of me and my time. And even on bad days when I'm tired and Kayson's just a handful and Bowen's a handful, and I still feel like I am being a better mom to the boys than if I go back to work and I'm really tired. I've had a stressful day at work. I just still want to be, I just still want to be a really good mom to them, and I want to be present with them, and I want to get off work and have the energy to go outside and play and snuggle with them on the couch if they want to snuggle on the couch, whatever it is. Just still want to be able to do the things that we're doing right now, or if he wants to go on a walk with him. And I'm just scared. And then also with working, I think hopefully everybody is like this who has a work ethic. You want to give your job 100%. You want to be a team player. You want to, just do the absolute best job you can. And when you have kids and your priorities shift, as much as you try, you cannot give 100% to your job and give 100% to your kids. That's just not realistic. I remember Kaysen got super sick, and I had a crazy, insane busy day scheduled the next day. I had 5 meetings and several deadlines, and he got his first little stomach bug, and I was sitting there holding him in the bathtub with throw up all over me, all over him, and I felt so bad for him because he was so sick. And then immediately thoughts started flooding my head of work and deadlines and what the hell am I going to do? I've got all these meetings, and then it made me mad because instead of being able to be present with my son who was sick and put all my focus and all my energy on him, I was worried about work and worried about what my boss was going to say, or you know, what I was going to miss or if I was going to look like a bad employee. And there have been so many times where I'm like, I can't do that. I have to go pick Kason up. Or when I was pregnant with him, you know, I'm like, I am sick. Or I can't do that. My feet were so swollen at one time and I had to do a shoot, and I had to end up asking somebody else to cover for me because I was like, I can't even walk. You know, and then you feel bad because I want to be a team player. I don't want anybody thinking that I'm ever trying to use the kid card or anything like that, because that's never the case. If I can do something, I want to do it. And so you just feel guilty, you feel bad, and then it pisses you off because you're like, no, my kids are first, my family comes first. You know, so it's like you're constantly like fighting against each other. They're constantly just like you're playing tug of war with yourself, basically. I don't know, it's exhausting. It's mentally and physically exhausting. And I'm just not ready for it at all. So I know I have missed some big topics, some big things that I wanted to say. I know I did. I know I didn't cover everything, but I'm sure this video is plenty long enough, and that felt good just to get that off my chest. I hope that maybe it helps somebody else or you guys can relate. I don't know. Thank you for letting me have this therapy session with y'all and for listening and being a supporter and just everything. I just appreciate you guys a ton. So yeah, that's all. Being a mom is hard. The end.